Right, good afternoon campers, and welcome to another episode of Tito The Troddler. And you may be asking yourself, what have we got in store for today? What's happening this time? Well, it goes without saying that there'll be a rather average introduction. And you never know, there might be a bit of daft walking as well. There's also bound to be a cooking scene, of course. And there's inevitably going to be some pretties, because there always is. Got to get a few nice shots in. And it goes without saying that there's bound to be the predictable walkthrough shot. It's got to be, hasn't there? But we are going to shake it up a little bit. I said we are going to shake it up a little bit. Bonjour. Oh, sacre bleu. A little porcupine. Hello. But will there be a joke of the trip, I hear you cry? Well, as I say on Rita Sue and Bob too, well, there might, you never know, you never ever know. There might even be a bit of poetry, but only and only if you can keep your head while all around you are losing theirs, but blaming it on you. Then they might. See what I did there? There might even be a few new characters to see, but to see them you're going to have to stay tuning in. So please come along for the ride and let's get troddleized. Right, so howdy folks, I hope you're well. We are setting off on another wild camp, and it's damper than a pamper and moister than an oyster. You know, there's a lot of people don't like the word moist for some reason, but I do, I like it. I think it's quite funny. Anyhow, we're in the Yorkshire Dales just for a change, and I parked my car up at Arncliffe, which is a lovely little village not too far on from Kilnsea. And we're currently walking along the side of the we're down the Littondale Valley and walking along the side of the river, which is very, very pleasant, even though it is raining. And we are we're going to head along the bottom of the valley, and then we're going to turn, take a right and climb up the hill, and we're going to end up at a little summit called the Parsons Pulpit. So I've been around this place lots of times but never ever camped in this spot, so I'm hoping it's going to be pretty good. We're all stocked up, we're pretty lightweight. We've left the drone at home. I didn't think there was much point in this drizzly weather messing around with that, so we've left that at home, which is lighting the pack a little bit. The only thing I've done is I've carried water, so I'm not sure I'm going to have a good water source on my way up, which is a bit of a gamble really, but it's a bit of a pain in the neck, because I'm obviously carrying a lot more weight than I would be doing if I'd just come with my bladder. But anyhow, it'll make it for an easier trip later on, and we're all set up. We're going to get up there probably about, I don't know, 3 or 4 o'clock at the latest, and we'll get camped up. I don't care who comes along really, to be fair. I won't be changing my pitch for anybody, I don't think, unless somebody comes with a shotgun, and then that might be a bit different. But yeah, looking forward to it. And I've had a change of tent for today, because I know I'm going to spend a bit of time in my tent, so thought we'd have a change of tent. So all good fun. The rain's starting to pour down now, so we're going to get the rain cover on the rucksack, and then we're going to crack on. Now you may be asking yourself, why am I going wild camping on a day like this? And I've got to say, there was a big temptation to go and watch a film in Ebden Bridge, which should have been probably a lot less arduous, and maybe potentially, I don't know, maybe a little bit more rewarding, who knows, but this is going to still be rewarding. But to be honest with you, partly my mate Mr Brown up in Scotland, who basically states, when he's been out a few times when it's wet, is that if you wait for it to be dry you might never get out. And I've missed my July camp, so this is hopefully going to make up for it, and I'll do another one later on, so that'll make me catch up. But yeah, don't be scared of a bit of rain. As a boss once said to me, you won't dissolve. Oh, right, we're about halfway up now. Keeps raining on and off. It's not too bad, it's overcast, and it's not very pleasant for August, but nonetheless we haven't got, it has eased off a little bit, so just keeps throwing a shower over the top of us. But like I said, I reckon we've only got about an hour ago till we go to camp. It's about 2:30ish, so I reckon I'll be camped up at 3:30, 4 o'clock, like I said, so not too bad. Killed most of the climb, there's probably about 100 metres of climbing left, so it's not so bad. But yeah, going along all right. I'm probably due to the fact that I haven't exercised very much for the last few months, is even on a camp like this where I'm kind of a little bit of weight because of water, it's not that easy. I find it a little bit tough, even though it's not that difficult to climb, but we're coping, but we definitely need to get back on that treadmill at some point. Oh, we made it to the summit, but God, it's blowing a gale now, it really is. So a bit grim, but a bit blowy, so we might just drop a little bit of height and get on far side, so we just get hide out of wind and get pitched up. But yeah, a bit rough, so we're not going to mess around now, we're going to get pitched up as quickly as we can. Alright, so we've got pitched up. I've got to say, it got a bit wild then when I was doing that. It were batting me about all over the place. Only time I forgot my crossbows and all, can you believe it? But anyway, it's still absolutely rock solid, so I've got no fear. It's times like this, and I'm really glad that I've modified this tent. I've gone for 3mm cord, and as you can see, I'm in the Scarp. I've gone back to the Scarp. I thought, well, I'm going to spend a lot of time in my tent tonight. In fact, I'm not going to really be going outside at all. I will just open the door to cook, and apart from that, we'll be staying inside. So it's a real comfort. Your idea will always just go for a bit more comfort, a bit more room than the notch. The notch is fantastic, and there's something to say about that coming up very soon. But yeah, I just thought today I'll carry the extra kilo, and we'll have a bit more comfort, so hopefully it'll serve me well. But I'm really glad, I'm really glad to get it up. It didn't go up too bad. You just got to go and be methodical and try not to get carried away. And for once I brought my good quality waterproofs that I've hardly used at all, my Actor X waterproofs that cost £4 gajillion, and like I said, I've hardly used them because normally I only take them unless I think it's going to be really bad. But obviously we knew today were going to be quite rough, so they've definitely served the purpose, and it helped when I was setting up. I weren't worried about putting my knees down because I was having my waterproof bottoms on and what have you, so all good. So without any further ado, let's get some food on, and then let's get some rouge on. That's what I say. I'll tell you what, something bizarre has just happened. Really bizarre. I was up here, I thought I'm absolutely hard in the middle of nowhere. I've had to go totally off piste. I can't believe there's anybody wandered across here, and this woman's just come across here, and she's coming past 10, and she said her 8, and then she says to me, she goes, if you show me your bottom, I'll give you a bottle of wine. And I said, I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely taken aback. I couldn't believe what she was saying. Anyway, I don't know where she's gone, but she disappeared over that way. Right, it's that time again. Time for the joke of the trip. So, King Charles goes to Middlesbrough to open a plastics factory. And when he gets out of the roller up there, bloke opens door, and out pops King Charles, and he's wearing this fox hat. big bushy thing. It's got a sort of mask at the front, big bushy tail at the back. And the guy who's opened the door for him says, "Excuse me, Your Highness." He says, "I'm just wondering." He says, "What's with the fox hat?" He said, "What's going on there?" He says, "There was Camilla's idea." He says, "I was getting ready and she said, what are your duties today, darling?" And I said, "I'm going to Middlesbrough to help in a plastics factory." And she goes, "Middlesbrough? Wear the fox hat." Right, I've just go outside for a rusty lee. I've got to say, it's even though it's still a bit wild, it's certainly calmed down a little bit. I think wind is definitely dropping, so you can see tent's pitched. You can see it's a bit skew iffy. It's not quite perfect, but it's fair enough nonetheless, and it's, like I said, solid as a rock. So we're loving it. So job's a good one. Really pleased. I've just dropped off Summit. As you can see, Summit's up there, so I've just below it, just keep this side at hill, which is certainly helped regarding wind. So we're all good. So we're ready to settle in now. Just get down and have a bit more of a drop rouge, and then we'll have a wee dram, and then we're ready for his bed. I'm tired already. So all good fun. Right, hello. My name is Arthur Argyle. And it's absolutely true, I've got an enormous pile. Anyhow, it's a big one. It's like a castle, that's how big my pile is. Tell you, massive. Anyhow, this Tito character said to me, he says, "Can you come along and do us a whisker review?" So I says, "Yeah, no problem, I can do that." So we've got this wee number today. We've got this Glengoyne 10-year-old. And it says, "A glorious golden clean brie flavour with malt finish. Notes of fresh green apple, toffee, and a hint of nuttiness, which is touch of soft oak." So let's give it a bash. Let's see whether it lives up to the expectation. Oh, it sure does. That drops good enough for Bonnie Prince Charlie. It's that fine. So yeah, Glengoyne 10-year-old. Get it down your neck. You can. Oh, hello. My name is Dull Man, and my job on this trip is to do the music review. And it's really an interesting track that I'm going to talk about. It's Simon and Garfunkel's "I Am a Rock." And what's really interesting about this tune is, although it talks about winter, it was actually recorded in August 1965, which is both amusing and incredibly interesting. The lyrics are a bit serious, and if I'm being truthful, it rattles on a bit too much. It goes on about a man who was quite depressed and finds comfort sitting in his room on his own and feeling sorry for himself. So it's not a comedy, that's for sure. But it's it was very well received and was a big hit. Now, what not many people know is, and it's also very interesting, is, and not dull, is that the B-side or is actually called "Leaves Turn to Green." That then turn from green to brown. It's really quite fascinating. And anyway, I hope you found this review really interesting and not dull. Till next time, enjoy your camp. Thank you. Right, so a bit of a roundup time now. Talk about what's been going on. So first of all, we had some bad news regarding the Crossroads Inn. Unfortunately, despite making a very strong bid for the pub, the owner already had somebody else lined up, and it doesn't look like we're going to be able to buy it for the community, which is an unbelievable shame. We had so many wonderful things we wanted to do with that building, and we believed it could have made it wipe its face, and you know, made it totally and utterly Crossroads. But I'm a big believer in fate, and as somebody once said to me, is if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and unfortunately if it isn't, it isn't. So that's the Crossroads Inn. The next bit of news, which is not really that much news because I mentioned it a little bit today anyhow, is there's been a distinct lack of exercise over the summer months. It's been deliberate as this. I've trained for like 18 months, 2 years. I've been training quite solidly really. Not had that much downtime, and my body were ready for a rest, especially my left foot, which is still, even now after all the rest, is still not 100% right. But I'm hoping it's getting there. If not, I'm going to have to go and see somebody seriously and get it looked at, because it'll spoil it if when I go back to exercising it starts hurting again. But anyhow, fingers crossed we'll be okay. And then obviously there's plans for next year. So what have I got lined up for next year? Well, I applied for London Marathon and didn't get in. I'm not going to look for a charity place because to be honest with you, I'm feeling like I keep asking people all the time to sponsor me, and I don't think it's really fair. Even though I know a lot of people said, oh, I'll sponsor you every time you do something. I think I've been so lucky to have so many people that are supporting me that I just don't want to keep asking on too frequent a basis. So if I do any events next year, it's going to be solely for myself. I haven't decided yet what they are going to look like. I think it's highly unlikely that any of them will be an ultra marathon, but I think it's very likely that I'll be doing 5k through to marathon anyhow. 5k, 10k, half marathon, marathon is certainly on the cards. And whether I take on any other challenges, only time will tell. I've got a few things that I'm thinking about, but big commitment, and I've got to decide whether I'm up to it. So we will see. It's all exciting stuff, but I just thought I'd bring you up to date. Right, good morning all. Yeah, that's not been too bad a night's sleep. Woke up a little bit. I think I woke up about 4 o'clock-ish and ended up I went to go for the usual leak. I made myself a brew and had a bit of porridge and what have you. But it's now about 8:30, so I haven't really slept really. You know, dozed off a little bit, but on and off this last few hours. But there's no mad panic this morning, so I want to try and time it for going for a pub lunch, so I don't want to be setting off back down too early. I've only got a short walk back down there. It probably should only take me about an hour and a half, something like that. So I'm going to get packed up in this next half hour, and then we'll get packed away. This has been a really good find as this place. The body count, if you want to call it that, how many people I've seen on the walk on the way up yesterday there was 4 people. There were 2 groups of 2, so there were a couple right near the start of the walk, and then there was a couple halfway up the climb. So really that just goes to show that for the solitude it's been a good camp. And the last bit of the camp you've sort of got to go off the path and go a bit off piste, as I call it, and I did have to actually scale a wall, which wasn't really what I wanted to do with the big pack on. But what it means is when you come to places like that where you've got to come off the track, it means that normally what happens is you don't see anybody. So it's been a really peaceful night. The good news is the rain looks like it's stopped. So there's a window where it's supposed to be all right this morning, and then I think there's thunder later on. So, but hopefully we'll be back in car, but long before that all starts. So yeah, so I'll get packed up, and then I'll catch up with you on the way down. Right, so we're all packed up. Quite a pleasant morning really. It's a bit of sunshine out and what have you, so it's still enough. So as you can see, as always, leave no trace. Yep, an absolute another Bobby Dazzler. So we've just got to make our way back down now to Arncliffe, which probably will take us about an hour and a half, I'm guessing, maybe a little bit longer. But yeah, I'll catch up with you a little bit on the way down. Right, so we're about halfway down now. Finally back on a path. So that's the last of the off-piste, which is good do, because I ended up going wrong. Ended up walking about 10 minutes in the wrong direction before I realised. Anyway, we're back on track now. The great bit is it's all downhill from here, but yeah, it's stunning really this morning. It's a lovely walk back down to Arncliffe. I walked up this way, back over towards Malham on a big walk I did with a good friend of mine, Dave Crampton. So yeah, it's a lovely part of the world, as this really is. Arncliffe's one of those little places, it's just tucked away. You won't even know it were there really, but yeah, lovely little spot. So yeah, shouldn't be much longer, we'll be back down. Just thought I'd quickly show you this. It's a right drop off here. Look at this. Beautiful valley that. Yeah, there must be a stone outcrop down this side, because it's you won't want to fall down there anyhow. It's quite a steep drop now down to back down to the Arncliffe in distance there. So we're nearly down. Probably another, don't know, just over 100 mile to go, I think, something like that. So nearly there. Tell you what, styles around here aren't very wild camper friendly. Look at this. Been about 10 of them that would normally wear a gate on both sides to negotiate, which is a bit difficult when you pack on your back, but I don't know. Right, so nearly back at Ancliffe now, just round the corner, so I'll just wrap it up here now, I think. So yeah, just an absolutely fabulous wild camp. Really enjoyed that one. The real true essence of wild camping, being out in the middle of nowhere and not seeing hardly anybody. So 4 people on the way up wasn't so bad, and the last sort of hour and a half up to the camp, up to camping, nobody all night obviously, and then nobody today up until I've got right back down to the path. So it's been absolutely brilliant, really enjoyed it. Good to get out after blobbing last week. I don't even care that it rained, it didn't really make that much of a difference. Quite enjoyed listening to the patter of the rain on the tent. So as always, I hope you've enjoyed me messing around. I did feel a bit of a prat just back then because 2 ultra runners come past me, and I was just filming, telling you how narrow styles were. I felt a bit daft as they come past, but could have been worse. I could have had my Eric Cantona mask on, so that made it even worse, wouldn't it? But yeah, as always, thank you for watching Tito The Troddler. You know, I keep getting more and more subscribers, and it really is much appreciated. It makes, you know, doing the videos all worthwhile. So yeah, if you can give me a thumbs up, please. Like, thumbs up, they help the channel. And obviously if you're a new viewer and you'd like to subscribe, welcome on board the Troddlites. That's all I could say. So until next time, all the best and take care. Bye bye.